Hello, and welcome back to the Masonic Roundtable, a weekly program where Masons from around the world get together to talk about Masonic news and opinions in a friendly and social manner. As a reminder, the thoughts and opinions expressed here are solely the opinions of the participants and do not represent any Grand Lodge statements or positions. Make sure you keep your conversations open for the public and on the level. To interact with us, we love seeing you live every Thursday night, Facebook and YouTube land. And remember, your comments may show up at the show. So keep that in mind. And finally, if you can't catch us live, catch us on the replay or in your favorite podcasting app. You know me, John Ruark, past master of the Patriot Lodge, number 1957 in Fairfax, Virginia. Next up, with 4 years and 22 days remaining, Joe Martinez.
Hello, Joe Martinez. Hello, Joe Martinez. Let's see. Past and still current master of Manessa Lodge number 182 for 22 more days. Not that anybody's counting. So 22 more days. And as always, damn glad to be here.
Awesome to have you. Jason Richards. How's it going, Jason?
Good. Jason Richards here, past master of Vacation Lodge number 16 in Clifton, Virginia. Glad to be here.
Glad to be viewed. And last but not least, Robert Johnson.
Howdy do.
Howdy.
Happy to be here. Glad to be here. Past Master Waukegan 78, Past Master Smith Novum 1183, and the host of the Whence Came You podcast. Hanging out with these fellas.
Excuse me, Dr. Robert. Why did I not hear the numerous secretary jobs in this intro?
Oh, yeah. So Secretary of E.M. Lambert Council, 319, Secretary of Edward Rund Council, Secretary of Space Novum 1183, and Secretary of Waukegan Lodge 78.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Forever.
Wow.
Forever.
Cheers.
Now we switch over to sending a cheers over to our patrons who support the show. Head over to patreon.com/clink, the Masonic Roundtable.
SodaStream, not a sponsor.
And
But they could be a Patreon.
you could support
SodaStream. Get on there, buddy.
the show.
We have any brothers that work for Kahlua? Like, send us some White Russian.
Nice.
Nice.
'Tis the season. Yeah.
Gonna watch some Big Lebowski now.
Yeah, what did he call him? He's like, you got a Caucasian?
Caucasian, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And one of our patrons asked recently, is Secret Santa coming back?
Yes.
It is.
So
Is
stay
it?
tuned.
Yay!
Stay tuned.
Update your pages, people. Update your. I literally the other day I was on Elfster, and I was looking at some of our friends and family and all those folks that know each other. Y'all got some stuff there from like 2, 3, 4 years ago. Like update your Elfsters, y'all.
Indeed. Especially I know when I've given people things and they haven't taken it off their list. So
Yeah, I mean, what happens if you already got, then you get another one? So
No,
I mean, that's on you for not updating your list.
that's
I
right.
hate doubles. I hate doubles. Yeah, clean up your list.
all right.
Got to do it.
All right. And while you clean it up, it's time for everyone else's favorite game show,
Huh?
even Joe's.
Tarot card of the week.
Jazz Hands and Spirit Fingers.
Spirit Fingers and Jazz Hands united as one, like the square and compasses.
Spirit Fingers was Joe's dancing name.
No, yeah, Spirit Fingers. Yeah, in college only.
That was Joe's stripper name.
Jazz Hands was a service charge. Jason, do you have the tarot deck of the week? What do you got for us?
Yep. Tonight, going back to the Into the Void, the Black Cat tarot. Excuse me. You've never heard of a black tat?
Most of my tats are black. Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah.
All right.
Don't go color. Don't go color, kids. It fades. Like love.
And tonight's tarot card.
Oh shit. What do you get?
They're never wrong.
I was about to say tonight's tarot card, which is encompassing everything that I'm feeling before I looked at it.
Oh,
Nine
Nine
of
of Swords.
Swords. Poor
oh.
kitty looking out the window there.
Yeah.
So, Nine of Swords, depression, nightmares, anxiety,
Anxiety.
keeping you up at night.
Yeah, we all go through that.
And
Yeah.
the end is near in a good way.
Call that Mondays. Mondays around here.
Clarifying card.
The Eight of Swords.
Negative thoughts.
Perceived helplessness.
Victim mentality. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who said a case
And
of
then the Ace
Monday?
of Pentacles, which isn't half bad.
I said Mondays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
You know, anybody ever say that to you? Nah. No.
Oh, man. No,
Somebody get their ass kicked.
That's
for that.
cat.
I reckon somebody get their ass kicked. Oh, that movie's great.
So many
Well, there we
references.
go.
We should have just we just say stupid crap and make a movie reference show.
Just the movie reference. Movie references and Mason.
Could be funny.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, tonight we're going to go back and explore something we haven't covered explicitly in 535 episodes of the Masonic Roundtable. Went back to the archives. I'm sure we've covered this. Nope. The basic symbol of Freemasonry. That's right. That is the square and the compass, or compasses.
Symbols.
Compasses.
That's right.
Of Freemasonry.
If it's two symbols together, is that one new symbol or two separate symbols? So tonight we'll explore the symbolism, the history, and other good esoteric meanings that you may or may not get out of the logo of our fraternity.
The bumper sticker, the lapel pin, the billboard.
The apron, the underwear, anything you could put the Square and Compass logo on, they sell it on Etsy and Zazzle.
I'm pretty sure Temu has like a Square and Compass's thong.
Yeah. All right. Yep. Remember,
Not that
I've
I've
Elfster list. Elfster.
That's true.
Now's the time to add it to your Secret Santa list.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's see, why are the Square and Compasses a fitting symbol for our fraternity?
It's a big question.
It is.
Yeah. Let's start with the little one. Start with the little one.
Your TMR report needs a cover letter. Cover page.
Cover sheet.
That's pretty smart.
Excellent.
Ooh, with somebody said I can't pull them up anymore. With or without the G. Yeah, let's talk about that because I love how it infuriates people.
The G
don't know things.
An American invention. Nobody outside of the U.S. does it.
Well, that's not true. That's not true. No, about half of South America does. A lot of your nations that have Freemasonry that use what do we call our alphabet?
Nobody in Europe does it.
Roman alphabet.
I amended myself.
What's our alphabet called? Now it's going to bother me. Is it
Latin?
Latin?
Not the Arabic. That's Arabic numbers.
Arabic numerals.
Yeah.
Did we all drink stupid juice tonight?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I got the Caucasian.
But
it's my first, so I have no real excuse. Yeah. So the square and compasses. First question somebody asked, right? Okay, the G. When did it first appear? Looks like the 18th century. 18th century is first time we start seeing that. So sometime in the 1700s, but I don't think it's happening over.
It's an innovation, actually.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't show up at first. It doesn't show up in early things like talking about the square and compasses as a whole. Anderson's Constitutions talks about the square and the compasses as symbols. Doesn't reference the letter G in between them. To RJ's point, it does show up in the late 18th century in some places, but it's not been trademarked as the official logo. But it really starts to become super commonplace in the U.S. after the Baltimore Convention. That's when you start to see it slapped on when you see "Welcome to Fairfax," and that's where you start to see square and compasses and G's when they start publicly advertising again. Coming off of the 25-year poop show that was the Morgan Affair backlash. So when they start becoming a public, more fraternal, more social organization, that's when you start to see the square and compass with the letter G in the middle.
Yep.
Boom. So to Jason's point, it is that awful word in Masonry, and innovation.
Da, da, da. Yeah, so I have some interesting symbolism of the square and the compasses that I want to get to later. But the next question I have for you all is it compass or compasses?
Or compasses.
Oh.
Well, if you say square and compasses, that would be correct, grammatically speaking.
Is it like a pair? Is it a pair of pants or a single pants?
And somebody who works with tools will tell you it's compasses. Or if you're a telemetry technician working with heart printouts for EKGs, it's compasses. In mathematics, we call it the compasses. So, yeah.
But it's not wholly universal in American jurisdictions, which cracks me up. And so I know we'll have some brothers in the chat. Put in the chat, in your jurisdiction, is it compass or compasses? Officially. So it is in Virginia, it is explicitly a pair of compasses. Yes.
Like a pair of scissors.
A scissor. A scissor.
Well, if it's just one
Janet.
compass, it's kind of a just stabby thing.
Stabby thing.
It's a shank.
That's a shank.
Yeah, so if we had just like a square and a compass, that's just like half a protractor, just the stabby part.
Just yeah.
Well, and a compass without the ES is that navigational tool that we use. It's different than the measuring spinny circly thing. So
it's a spinny circly stabby thing.
Yeah. So the square and shift. Yes. Thank you so much. It is interesting that we see like those variations. And honestly, I think a lot of those variations come down to language, the adoption of language over time. Even though you might say etymologically something is erroneous, we still find that it becomes something the more people use it, right? Like this year, the dictionary people added 6-7 to the dictionary. It's a
6-7.
I wanted to die for a second, but I was like, whatever. So just like that, you're going to see compasses turn into compass, especially, I think, as you go around in the United States, perhaps, like, it's a good example. You'll see the way people speak in certain, areas of the country is what you might consider the notion, because I'm not really sure that it doesn't matter the way people ever thought it mattered, but the notion of articulate speaking of, like words, like very, you're very eloquent in the way you pronounce words and things. And then as you may travel south, right, there are colloquialisms and combinations of words that come together that might be considered, eloquent speaking in that area of the country. And because of that, I think that, the compasses just become compass, the square and compass. It's just part of that. And I've called it square and compass for probably the first 3 years I was a Mason before I really paid attention to it. And that's only because somebody yelled at me during a ritual practice. So
We've all been there.
it's one of my favorite things. Getting reamed on ritual.
Yeah, so the good question in the chat here too.
Working tool of a past
Yeah,
master
so
is the ego.
And
We
the shiv.
have what were the first instances of the square and compasses appearing together as an interlaced symbol. So it's interesting.
What you got?
Go ahead. What you got?
What you got?
No, what you got?
All right, fine. I'll go first. So that was actually one of the questions I was hoping somebody would ask. So we have to talk about the symbols of the square and compasses in written manuscripts versus visual representation, right? Because it's two, and I've offended Robert, and he's now left. But yeah, so the square and the compasses show up. Oh, Robert's back. Show up as early as the Regius poem and the Hallowell manuscript, 1390. They talk about the square and the compasses. There's no artwork in this document at all to speak of. Cook manuscript has it as well. That's the mid 1400s. You start seeing it in the 1500s and the 1600s when you start seeing operative stonemason marks on things. But sometimes the square and the compasses are on the same piece of stone, but they're not interwoven. Sometimes they're interwoven, but they're not, they're weird, funky angles and stuff like that. I'm doing way too much with my fingers here, so I'm going to put my hands down. And, but they don't show up in the same way. my spirit fingers. Yes. But you can look at Kilwinning. There's carvings on stone there that show the square and the compasses. But it's really not until the late 1600s where we start to see the square and the compasses, the way that they get depicted on bumper stickers now and stuff, on things like, I believe it was a manuscript out of somewhere in Edinburgh, I believe, where it actually shows the square and the compasses are over the square and it's symmetrical. And then you start seeing it in like jewelry and engravings and things like that in the late 1600s. So that's probably
the 1600s being the advent of kind of more speculative masonry, with Elias Ashmole and Sir Robert Moray over in Scotland.
Yep. And then they do show up on the original front artwork of Anderson's Constitutions, interwoven square compasses. So which you can find pictures of all over the internet.
Right next to Adam and a Mason, or Adam in a Mason's apron.
Yep.
The
Noah, the Mason. Yep. Secretary of his lodge. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true.
And again, separate from Freemasonry, there's another good comment about what about Nuwan Fuxi? What do they hold? Well, I'll tell you, because if you go see a picture of an ancient Chinese text, they actually have some artwork that predates everything Joe said. It has... what
Are you going to pull it up or what?
Yeah, no, I'm going to leave you in suspense.
Ooh, what's that?
One Fixie, one holding a pair of compasses and one holding a square.
What's that dated?
I knew you were going to ask, so I didn't look it up because of that.
Oh, wait.
But I can find it out.
Oh, wait. We'll study.
Feed it into Chat GPT.
The legend goes back to characters around 2900 BC or 2000 BC.
That's not the date of the artwork. So.
That's not the date of the artwork.
Yeah. We're still drawing with our boogers 2,900 years ago.
So. And there's other just depictions of them as well. So, yeah. And then we do have, there is, I don't know if you covered it. I was trying to find it. I know that there's a picture of it on archive.org.
Notice how John didn't answer the question.
No, I'm still waiting for the damn answer.
The reference, because there was an atlas that was written in like the 1500s that that actually had a picture of a square and a compass intertwined or overlaid, but it was completely outside of a Masonic context. So yes, that was the earliest pictorial representation, but it was outside of Freemasonry.
It's just so, like, speaking really objectively about it, the square and the compass is one of the reasons why Freemasonry is considered so universal is because of the symbolry that we use. John's pick was mid 8th century CE, so 700 something. So universal symbols, they are that, and you'll see them in cultures that pop up throughout all time because it's intrinsically mixed in or inherently mixed in with all things measurable. And even from an early state, you see people making that logical jump to allegory or philosophical understanding of something. You see the square and compass is used in trade guilds that are older than any sort of, Masonic guild. You see it in the Asian references that you had. I sent you in our
Hey,
group.
RJ, check your mic.
Who, me?
Yeah, you're cutting out.
There you
That's
go.
fine.
Great, yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay. Let me make
You're
sure
a little garbled there.
the right microphone. Bam. Okay. Let's try that out.
There we
So,
go. As you were.
as I was. So one of the things that's interesting is you can see that symbolism portrayed throughout all time. John, if you check our TMR chat, pull up that picture for everybody there. So that's from that's a tile.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from 79 CE.
I will say that's neither a square nor a compass. That
No,
is a
but the
level.
square is represented on the top. And
Yes, it's the top of the level.
yeah. And what's interesting is that this is just one example of a motif, and it's called the house name was Diogenes the Mason. But I mean, it's fascinating to see how far back it goes and to the lengths at which people made a connection to those symbols. It is, as much as I think Freemasonry loves it and wants to claim it, we kind of can't. Like, we've adopted it, but
Culturally appropriated is the correct term.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even I would go that far just to be mean, but we seem to forget in general as a fraternity that we've co-opted a lot of our symbolism and our stories from operative stonemasonry, right? Like that was the framework that we choose to tell our story with, and those symbols had already been in use both operatively and to teach lessons for hundreds of years before that. So, people still, a lot of Freemasons even still think that, a bunch of dudes got in a room and found all these symbols lying around. They're like, these are the best symbols ever. And let's turn a story into that, which is not the case.
Cultural appropriation.
Over time.
ritual appropriation.
Ritualistic.
I mean,
Well, it's both.
It's both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in somewhat of in the best of ways. I remember having a conversation with Patrick Day out in Colorado, who we talked a lot about this, which was he did a whole segment about Freemasonry or appropriating rituals from other cultures. People are like, the common claims about Christmas being taken from the pagans or whatever, and in truth, it's not really that kind of an idea. It's more that the cultures intermixed, and you just get what you get. And the same thing happens with these things.
But time immemorial, Robert.
Yeah, all 500 years of it. Okay.
Time immemorial.
Yeah, since 500 years ago, or as best we can tell. That's what with immemorial just sounds cooler. Or, you can go with that Usher whole 6,000 years ago, Adam wore the fig leaf or whatever.
Yes. But did he fold the flap up?
He was the
I
first.
think-
He was already a master.
I think he only folded the flap up when he needed to expose his berries.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Would have had to have been a really sizable fig leaf.
John, bring us back. We're starting to get in.
So now let's get to the
Better
symbolism of the individual components. So I do a large presentation on the circumpunct, which is a pretty cool presentation, if I do say so myself. I'm going
Venus
to
worship.
read you yeah, that's a little bit of that sprinkled in there too. So stay tuned for good pictures. I'm still waiting, Jason. Let's talk about
I'm older than I used to be.
the symbolism behind those two distinct tools, working tools. So we have the square and we have the compasses. In my research, went back and cracked open Albert Pike's Esoterica, really good if you haven't read that one yet. And there's an excerpt where it says, in a lodge of the French Rite, when the senior warden is asked, "Are you a Master Mason?" his answer is, "I am. I have passed from the square to the compasses." Yeah, so that's interesting when you think about how you what you see when you're progressing through the degrees. Now, I'll bring up a little slideshow here just for funsies. We have the compasses are actually used to describe circles in spherical trigonometry where you can't use the square, right? So if you're trying to do heavenly arcs, you need the points of the compasses to be able to rotate around. So then, therefore, you can't just lay a flat square on the inside of that, or else you're going to lose spherical trigonometry. Therefore, the symbol of the compasses is a heavenly, a spiritual, a fit symbol of the sky. And so that's how we can measure things and track, the heavenly bodies. So the square, therefore, is a fit symbol of the earth. Well, let's see, I have different slides. Therefore, the square is more material, more flat, more straight edge for earthly things, earthly material things in nature and in man. Well, we find that out when, let's see, look at my notes here. I have another quote here. And when he becomes a Master Mason, he sees both points of the compasses above the square, which is supposed to teach him to have attained that condition in which the moral, intellectual, and spiritual forces of his nature have become superior to his material and animal forces and energies. Therefore, his moral sense and reason have the habitual mastery over his appetites and passions. The divine in him transcends the human, and there is in him that equilibrium of the forces of his nature, which constitutes excellence and entitles him to honor.
It is interesting to note. Like, I think, for the most part, all of my notes that I've ever taken on square and compasses do rely very much on a lot of the same things you just mentioned. And I often wonder about what they mean individually. And then when you put them together, does it create a new meaning? Like, do two virtues come together to create some super virtue? And I think about that in kind of a weird way. I've often thought about like the square being this sort of the rules of the society in which you live, almost like moral rectitude, right? Because morality is subjective. Objective, if you look at, let's say, what's awesome in the United States? What does everybody think is awesome here? It might not be the same somewhere else in the world. So that morality value is subjective. And so you're living by the rules of whatever is set out to be good in your community, and then you have almost the super subjective of the compasses, right? The idea that this is my tool for self-control. One guides the other, and then when you bring them together, it's kind of a trope, but it's the idea of
RJ, fix your mic.
It's ASMR time.
Use the mic near your mouth.
I am using the mic near my mouth.
There you go.
Not the other mic.
Not the other mic. So, all I'll say is, when you bring them together, is it some sort of balanced approach to both, or is it something else? And then,
Yes.
I mean,
Go
it's no. Oh, who, me or him?
whoever.
I don't want to get yelled at. It's really interesting, especially when you see a lot of, I won't get into a specific ritual, but, we lightly touch on it in the degrees, right? Depending on your jurisdiction, very, very lightly, right? It's not beaten over the head with, but it really takes a fine eye to listen to the ritual and see what's happening. And then it's really cool when you got your younger Masons or Masons who've been around for a while who start to make those connections of, holy crap, the square really talks about the earthly stuff, right? Even though we lightly touch on it in our ritual, and then they start to make those correlations like, oh, the 4 seasons and the 4 elements and the 4 directions and the 4 corners of the earth, because squares have to do with 4s, right? And if we want to get super, super nerdy, 4 is that number of the material world, right? So, so we talk about this stuff and we sprinkle it into ritual. And I don't know how ritual was 500 years ago, but it was probably a bit more lavish and descriptive than it is now, right? Because
we have some of the manuscripts.
Yeah. And exposés, right? Which give us a better sense of ritual than, any manuscripts do.
Well, and that was even that French Rite expose that I was just reading from too.
Yeah, for sure. And then you get the other side. And I know we haven't gotten there yet with the compasses, and you touched on it perfectly, John, where
Of course I did.
yes, where we talk about squares as being finite, right? Squares have 4 corners and they have defined edges, and it's finite, but a circle has no beginning and has no end. And so from there, you can start to extrapolate all the different meanings that you get from taking a pair of compasses and drawing a circle. It's very cosmological. It's very infinite, and it gets into all the unseen aspects of the world. But it's cool when
Ouroboros-y.
Yes. But it's cool when you see a brother who's never thought of that and it starts to all click for him. You know what I mean? I've seen that a couple of times, and it's kind of neat.
So there's one other thing I wanted to add in. I kind of read through it pretty quickly. Pike actually assigns virtues or character traits to the square and compass as well. So for the compasses, he assigns moral sense and reason. That through the application of the compasses, you're using a higher plane, you're using higher order of senses to navigate the world. But in contrast, he calls the square the symbol of your essential appetites and animal passions. Right? So that's why, when you're going through the degrees, you don't get everything all at once. Your square is overpowering your compasses. That you're just a baby. You're just making your way through, and you haven't mastered your compasses yet.
It seems very, ego, super ego, id kind of.
I can see that. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm going to add that in to my presentation. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I was going to ask.
Or like lizard brain and prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
What about
you stealing Robert's IP?
Yoink.
Yeah, yoink.
I made this.
I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I agree with Brother Pike here on this.
Call him up.
Well, yeah, we can. Well, yeah, his statue's back, so I can go yell at it.
Yeah.
Stand in front of it.
I was going to make that joke.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, I don't know if I see it, I get it, but I don't know if I agree, because I mean we literally spent the last 10 minutes talking about how the square is the earthly, right? It's the man part of us. It talks about morality and it talks about ethical behavior. And, when you're on the square or you do things in a
I can
square
see
way,
that.
we talk about all these groundly things, but
Fair, right. Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then when we get to the compasses, it's ephemeral, it's spiritual, it's cosmic and stuff. So yeah, I guess. But if you guys outvote me, I will shut up and change my opinion.
Well,
So.
no, I mean, so Joe, to your point, the square encompasses that how Pike interprets them is really an American sort of idea. I think we all know that he repackaged a ton of Eliphas Levi. Eliphas Levi talked about the square encompasses being wholly a union of opposites, like spirit and matter, which is something I think we've all talked about, and comes up time and time again within Freemasonry is the idea of balance between those two. And taking it a step further, I often wonder about this. Like when we bring them together, we always tell people like, oh, so the points of the compass is elevated above the square. Symbolically representing this mastery, and yet, pretty much everywhere you go, there's always that one dude who's always like, "There's only one master. We're all fellow crafts," right? There's always that. I don't know if you guys have met that guy, but anyway.
Yeah, you do it for 3 years and come back and throw that crap at someone.
So, but the idea that I always thought about was true balance in a non-altruistic sense, like in a true human sense. Wouldn't the balance be the intertwining of the two rather than one over the other?
Or like a yin and yang.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you're going to need both. You have to navigate the material plane while you're resonating in the spiritual plane and vice versa. So,
well, that's the point, right? It's what we're telling people with these two symbols is exactly what you said. It's the work we learn as a Mason is to elevate the meaty part of ourself, and still be a good person in the world, right? And
sure,
that elevation comes through those, to Robert's point, those supernatural parts that we start to incorporate. Like, don't be a D-bag.
Well, it's the spiritual alchemy that and transformation that we undertake, symbolically.
Much better said. Yes.
Good. I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yes.
Where were you going with the trolley problem, Jason?
Oh, so Brother Jose said right and wrong can't be a spectrum, or they are always a matter of degree. At fundamental point, right and wrong must diverge at 90 degrees.
Interesting.
And so I think this is getting into kind of an, it appears to be kind of an absolutism versus relativism argument. And my ears usually perk up at that. And so I mentioned the trolley problem to say, there might be shades of right where something is worse than something else. Or you might be doing the Kobayashi Maru simulation and realizing that there's...
You just reprogrammed it?
Which in and of itself might not be a moral thing to do.
So for those who don't know about the trolley problem, it's an ethical game framework where a trolley is heading down a track and aimed for 5 people who will absolutely get smushed. But you're right next to the track switch. And by your action, you could redirect it and only kill one person. So what do? Morally, do you take part and therefore you are now contributing to the death of one person? Or through your inaction, are you contributing to the death of 5 people? What do you do? And so it's great because there's so many variations of this. And it certainly would be a great... We need more Masonic trolley problem memes. That's all I'm saying.
It is a game of whataboutisms.
We need a
what ifs.
trolley is what we need.
We
so that
love whataboutism on social media.
It's not entirely like theoretical though when you have autonomous vehicles that have to make decisions on
They have
It's
to make
only a level 2, John.
That's true. We'll get there one day.
decisions based on
Elon says it's level 6 already.
what people feel is the right determination. And ultimately, a vehicle making a guess on its best interpretation of what the better good is going to come out of a situation is wholly dependent on the corporation who has programmed it with that information. And it would
Better
be
good for whom?
Exactly.
Oh!
That's how deep it gets. So you have to think like, oh, did the shareholders have an opinion on this? What saves the most money? And how much has that been implemented in? So it all comes down to base level reasoning. And one of the things about the square and the compass is that I always think about is it's not, what I was referring to earlier, it's not like this total spiritual mastery over the material. It's more of a balanced approach.
Balance.
The best of both things. Nietzsche's got Beyond Good and Evil. You can read that book, or TLDR. There is no bad or good stuff. There's just stuff, and it's all completely relative into the experiences of the people around you, and the square and compasses coming together in such a way could represent the idea of complete and total freedom. The Fool card, starting at the world,
Yeah.
your way. Everybody's, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because the Fool is 0 and you're working your way up to the world or whatever. Really, you're starting at the world and you're moving toward the Fool before starting
back around
over again.
Yeah, beautiful. Love it. It's deep.
So deep.
All right, so on the track, there's 5 nuns tied to the track. But if you flip the switch, you'll run over Hitler. So now it makes the decision a little bit easier. Unless they're really bad nuns. Just throwing that out there. All right, so we have 5 grandmasters on a track. But it's your grandmaster that you switch the track over to. What do you do?
How do we...
I'm not answering that.
Going to hit both? I went there. That's fine.
I saw the meme where someone just did like the drift track and had the trolley go sideways and go cover both lanes.
Damn.
Yeah, but all kidding aside, even though I love the joking, once you start introducing people into this equation, then it's not utilitarianism anymore, right? It's not the greater good. It's it's pure.
No, it's inherently subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it'd be fun, but
it might be a further degree of subjectivity, though.
Tokyo Drift. That is funny. Thanks, Reddit.
I can always count on Reddit. Okay, next question. We all know what angle the square is. Joe, what's the angle the square should be set at?
89.5 degrees.
90 degrees?
Depends. Yes, good job. Kudos. But the real question is, what angle should the compasses be set at?
It depends.
Depends on what your jurisdiction says.
Answer. Yeah.
Yes. Some jurisdictions actually have it documented.
Yeah, Illinois doesn't, but
because the compass goes like this.
It opens and closes.
60 degrees. 60 degrees.
Aha.
It's a pretty common in Masonic ritual across the United States when they do it. When they actually.
And why do you think it's recommended to be at 60 degrees? I have a theory. Other than it looks cool.
I really just feel like it's just a balance issue, right? Like If you've got 90 degrees, you can put the compasses at 60 and split 30 in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Well,
Aesthetically pleasing.
it's aesthetically pleasing also because an equilateral triangle
Yeah. Long.
has
Yeah.
interior angles of 60 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes sense, right? Also, it seems to, I mean, you can assign all of the afterthoughts about how, what a symbol means. We've talked about ad nauseum the meanings behind apron shapes, right?
Yeah.
We know why they're that way, but we've ascribed meaning to it after the fact. It is interesting
So
to
true.
note, like when you've got 30, 60, 90 or a 90 degree split with the 60 degree compasses, you could derive an argument for Trinitarianism out of it, or spirit, body, mind, spirit, or any number of triplets. Or just call it Masonic. It's 3.
Wouldn't it be nice though if our Masonic compasses, in addition to being so pretty and ornate, actually had the numbers on them, like the actual ones that we used in school? Because when I see people, putting the square and compasses, yeah, there's no numbers there. No, there's not. I know. I've looked. No, wouldn't it be nice to actually have the numbers so that everybody would do it the same way?
Fun fact, by the way, there I was, my mother lodge, Herndon Lodge, and we were doing some maintenance, and we had to change the air filter right above the kitchen, and we're trying to figure out, well, what size is the filter? And it was like, I don't know. Does anyone have any like tape measure? No one could find a tape measure. So we ran to the lodge, got the 24-inch gauge, which was actually accurate, and we held it up. And wouldn't you guess it? It was actually 24 by 24-inch square. So not only did we get the measurement, and the measurement was 24 square, our speculative working tool was accurate.
It's just
Fun story. True story. True story.
And that's another episode, sir, because we're talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And the
wrong symbol entirely.
John, can you show the group chat image I just sent over?
I sure can.
This is what we'll use in a lot of the lodges.
No, not that group chat image.
Oh, wait.
Not that one.
I like that one. Yes.
So we use these at Space for the exact reason Joe was talking about. Our lodge is full of like artisan and craftsmen, so we dig the old tools, and we literally are using a real set of brass compasses that do have hash marks on there to delineate the degrees, so you can figure it out. It's unique, but to any guys out there who are like, oh man, where do you get that? Bro, just go to any antique store and look through their tools. You will find awesome pieces.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No need to clean them up. Use them that way, or clean them up a little bit or whatever. But they ensure that if you do have a jurisdictional requirement for ritual, you could do that. And B, they just look so damn cool.
And C, you can be technically correct, which is the best kind of correct.
That's right.
And
that's right.
D, those things could stab somebody.
Yeah, you could hurt somebody.
You could get the
don't have a clumsy deacon clumsy deacon who's like arranging the lights and then accidentally drops it on his loafer and stabs his big toe. Yeah.
Black sneaker.
Mm-hmm.
Loafer.
Trips and draws blood.
Yeah.
True story. Moving on. It's a good question from Jose. What do you think about the fact that the compass don't actually get a full working tools lecture like the other tools in U.S. Masonry? It is an interesting omission. We go into great detail explaining the operative and speculative reasons behind our working tools. And then there's the compass.
I think it depends on. I think some U.S. jurisdictions have longer lectures on things, because I'm feeling like I have heard more details about the compasses before.
British emulation does. Do you remember that?
Yeah, for Illinois' ritual, the only time I know that the square and compasses actually come up is actually their explanation, which is very brief during an initiation, passing or raising, and in the entrance to a lodge during ceremony. That's really the only time I see it come up, other than a few instances within our public installation ritual.
Mm.
And in those instances, we've talked about everything tonight that's contained within those public rituals for Illinois, anyway.
Yep. We do try to keep that open for the public and on the level.
Oh, yeah, we are on the level.
Wrong
One of
episode.
many.
That's why there's so many of them.
That's why there's so many.
Great. What else we got? I think that's all that I had prepared as far as thought-provoking questions and the little bit of the history of the symbolism behind the square and the compasses. So
Yeah,
let's
I think
go.
Go ahead. Sorry. I spoke, John. I'm sorry.
All
Sorry.
right. We will just remove you from the show and move over to
About
our
time.
final. There we go. It's much more peaceful. Move to the final question. So final
He doesn't
question.
have admin access to our platform anymore, so he can't come back.
I'm a benevolent king, so you're welcome back.
I am
Oh.
benevolent king.
It's good to be the king.
I'm just going to start. I'm going to make an edit of you where you talk like Donald Trump in the South Park.
You mean Saddam Hussein? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. You get to be Grandmaster for the day. You can add one embellishment to the square and compass. What would it be? Or I'll even give you bonus power. You could take one thing away from the square and compass. Maybe it could be removing the G. Maybe it could be removing the square or the compass. Maybe it could be removing both. Or maybe it could be adding something of your delight. So with that, who wants to go first?
What kind of bullshit question is that?
It's the one I came up with on the spot, man.
It
Give
is-
me some credit.
I go first because I've done it.
Oh!
And people
Oh.
yelled at me for it. Yes, I would totally
What would
go
you
first.
What would you do?
So I would remove the G from the square and compasses because
Blasphemer.
yes, I know. I've gotten yelled at for it.
Have you really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. People come up. Yeah. Free. I like even was it a month ago? It was like, are we gonna get a Lodge lapel pin that puts the G back in the square and compasses? Because I hate what's there now. Yeah. So well, I don't know. In 22 days, I won't care. But yeah, it really offends people when they don't see their G in the middle of their square and compasses. So I would, if I was Grandmaster,
You're taking the god out of masonry, Joe.
well, it's everywhere else in the universe, so it could, and that's not what's supposed to be in the middle of the square and compasses. If you
Don't
paid
think God
attention-
cares.
if he really doesn't.
I'm going to
about what's
smite
in
you
between
if you don't put the
square
G back.
and compasses. But yeah, I would remove that. I think it's superfluous, and it adds no value to the actual symbol if you understand its meaning. Boom.
Make Masonry G again.
Oh. Boo.
Joe just told me he's going to run for a one additional term just so he can bring back cut lips lapel pin.
Joe never said anything of the sort.
Oh,
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it is a deep cut. If you ever want to see a wild and crazy lapel pin, check out Cut Lips Grandmaster pin.
Lapel pin. Yeah.
It's a doozy.
I'll leave that exercise to the listener.
Here's the thing.
Good pin.
There are a lot of people in a lot of lodges who would celebrate that pin.
I know. It's a great pin for a lot of people. So I'm
All right, Jason, what would you add or subtract from the square and compass?
It's a good question. I was so busy making sarcastic remarks that I didn't think of an answer. So I also would remove the G, but I would add a single dot in the middle, which is actually something I did for the lapel pin for my master's year in 2017. Because I think the dot, it represents deity as the point within the circle, but it also is the operationalization of the compasses. Even though the dot is supposed to be one point of the compasses. Like I like the idea of the compasses forming the. Thank you. I like the idea of the compasses forming the external bounds of your passions and your ego, and so putting a dot in the middle is that point within that circle where you ought to, by your Masonic initiation and obligation, act in reference to all humanity and stuff and things.
I love it. Because you stole my answer. Robert, what else can you steal from me?
I don't know if I'm going to steal anything from you. I would say I love Jason and Joe.
I love you too.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Love you more.
Jason and Joe both brought up something that I think is very important. In fact, the dot in the middle of the square and compass is something that is on our TMR producer pin.
It is.
And what's so unique about that, what's so unique about it is actually, it's like even on my Mother Lodge's coin, Waukegan 78, our coin it's the two pillars, and then the circle is around those and touches on the side. So the pillars are forming the two parallel lines, and in the middle is the point. We have that on there, right? And of course, around that is the square and compass. That's what we did also, because it is a much more universal symbol for the idea. We've done a show on the G before, and I think that was a great episode. And I think the clutch argument is that God doesn't start with G in every language.
Yep.
True.
So it's not as universal as a symbol can be. All that great stuff. I think if I were Grandmaster, what I would do is exactly what we heard in the chat. I would love the idea of creating a more individualized lecture component for the square and the compasses that would be given. In addition, add them into the working tools lectures in all 3 degrees. Go and explain those a little bit more. And maybe controversial take that we would start off with the points above the compass, the points of the compasses above the square before moving to maybe other ways you could combine them, until I think maybe the Master Mason might be the intertwined version, just from my own personal philosophy. But that might not teach what we want to teach, which is a constant movement toward betterment, right? Becoming better. And so we have to continually aspire to be greater individuals. So maybe that's not such a great idea. But
you have to move closer to the point, man.
Yeah.
Closer to the G.
Word up. Nice. All right. So excellent questions all. Excellent answers all. And so I guess I was trying to think whether I'm a big fan of The center of the square and compass is the fulfillment of what you desire. So whether it be a light, a flame, a yod, potentially, yeah, a skull, right? Or nothing at all. Because, that could be, again, you're free from the bounds of symbolism. But that's, again, also another, like, 2 layers ahead. Like, that might be the next degree after that, is that there is no spoon. Right, so that's where I think I'd like to get to one day. But those are all good embellishments to add to the balance between the square and the compasses. I hope you all learned something interesting tonight. I know I did. And yeah, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and keep searching for more light. Have a good night.
Wow.